This is my 2019 Polaris RZR 570. And I wanted to get doors so that when I drive through brush and stuff, it's not hitting me. So I got these tusk doors, and there's a link in the description below if you want to look at them online. And whenever I put the doors on, I decided to take these bars out. Now these bars keep you in the seat a little bit, and especially in a rollover, they're going to help keep you inside of the cab. But I wanted to get those out because it makes it a little bit harder to get into the quad with those in there. So the problem that you have when you take those out is that as you're driving, the frame will flex, and you can see the flex right in here because you'll actually see this post moving up and down independently from this. So I'm just going to move the handle. So it kind of looks like this. You'll see this going up and down, but it's the entire door mechanism moving, not just the post. So the post and this latch and the door, actually all of this moves up and down as you're driving over bumps. So you can see that that frame is flexing, and part of the reason is because that bar right there, I took it out on both sides. So today I'm going to show you my fix on how you can keep the rigidity of these bars without having them in your way when you're getting in and out of your machine. So right now, the way that the quad is with the factory bars in there, this part of the bar is the most in the way when you go to get in and out. I'm going to measure from right where this comes up and just starts to curve. I put a little mark on there. So that's 17 3/4 inches clearance with the factory bars. Next, I'm going to take my yellow marker, and this pipe comes up some right here, and then it comes away from the seat a little bit, and in the middle of that I'm going to make a mark. And then up on the top I'm going to make a mark that is at the same point where this back brace part of the door is at. So straight out from that, I'm going to make a yellow mark right there, and that's where I'm going to make my cuts at. And then what I have is a piece of 5/8 metal rod. This is cold rolled rod, so it doesn't have any scale on the outside of it, but you could just use a hot rolled rod, it would not matter. And I'm going to be cutting those off, and instead of having this bar come out and then down and in a little bit, it's going to run from this point here to my yellow line right here, down like this. And that's going to give us more clearance to get in and out. Got to put your blade on the right way. Cuts better. Gotta love that little ting, tingling, ting, ting, ting sound. So this is what we have now. We have this little stub piece on the bottom, and this angle, or this cut, is on an angle. So on the other side, I'm going to draw my line horizontally across there. That way when I bring my 5/8 rod down, I don't have to match two angles, I'll just be matching one angle. And on the top, this is our piece, and it's going to go right in there. My next step is I need something to weld to, so I need to cut out a circle to weld in here so I have something to connect my 5/8 rod to. And the same thing on here, I'm going to need a flat to connect that, put that rod right onto it so I can then weld around the rod. So I decided on my first one to go ahead and make this straight like I had just mentioned. Now I have these two pieces of pipe and they're both deburred. I was able to find a washer that is the same diameter as that. So my next step is that I need to go ahead and weld this washer on. This is my Lincoln MIG welder. I've had it for 15 or 20 years. I'll put a link in the description below to a similar one because I don't even know if they make this model anymore. But you can use this for MIG, which is magnesium inert gas. That's the gas that keeps bubbles from forming in your weld. Or you can use it as a flux core welder. With the flux core, you can weld larger metal, but the weld's not as nice. On the front, you have your on-off switch here. And then you have this dial, which is infinitely adjustable. And this is how fast the wire comes out. And then this knob here is how strong the voltage is. So D is your maximum voltage, and then C would be one step down. Now I'm going to show you how to know where to set your voltage and how fast to set your wire speed. On the side of the welder is a door. This is where you can put your different size wires in, replace your wire. This is where it feeds through your cable. And on here is a chart. So the first thing you need to do is look on the left-hand side, and we're going to go over to the section where it says MIG because we are MIG welding. This is the flux core. Then we need to know what kind of gas we're using. Is it CO2 or is it a CO2 argon mix? I've never seen any MIG welders that did not use a CO2 argon mix. And that's why I have this little arrow, so I stay in this row right here. This is showing you the diameter of your wire, which is this right here. Then your next thing you're going to look at is you have all these little black lines. These are your different thicknesses of metal. So if you know that you're using 18 gauge metal, or if you know it's 0.048 inches thick, or if you know it's 1.2 millimeters, or you can take a piece of your metal and just line it up with these different thicknesses to figure out which one you have. This one lines up about here for a washer thickness, but our pipe thickness was a little bit thinner, so our best column is going to be right here. So we're going to come over on this one and down on this one, so we have D7. D for our voltage, 7 for our wire feed speed. So now I have my two stubs mounted. I have this one down here, and I went ahead and tightened that up. And I have this one up here, and that one is snug. The easiest way for me to get my bottom angle is I'm going to take this pipe and I'm going to rest it on that middle hole, and then I'm going to lay it up close to where it's going to connect at the top. And then I can just look at this and I can see where it needs to be. I can see where level is at and mark this. So now I have a nice line I can cut on. Then I can set this down on there a little bit better, and then I can mark the top. Sweet. So now when I set my metal in here, this couldn't have worked out much better. But that fits right on there nice and flat. I'm either going to put it right there in the metal, or I might bring it out to this edge, just so if you bump it there's less of this edge that you would hit on. And then up at the top here, at this point, I need to now come in and draw a line straight up and down here on the front of this piece of metal, so I know where to cut that one at. So this is working out much easier than I expected. I have both ends of my metal rod cut, and if you're doing this at home, make sure you mark your first cut after you cut it so you know which end is the bottom. That way it's just, you don't have to figure it out later. let's take a look at how it fits. So my bottom is going to go right about there, and the top is going to go right about there. My cut on the top isn't perfect, but I can center the two, and it's close enough that the weld will completely hide it. The next step before welding is your gas tank is right here, so you need to get that protected. Also, your seats are right here. You definitely do not want to hit those with welding sparks. All I'm going to be doing is tacking this in place, but you don't want to do that where sparks could hit the gas tank or the seat. You probably really don't want them hitting the plastic either, so you might want some leather down, some metal down, maybe a wet towel. Also, your seat belt comes out from down in here. That's going to need covered up. I have rags in there. I have a metal plate over the gas tank, so make sure everything is protected before you start tacking this piece in. This is the method that I decided to use to modify my sidebars. You should not take your sidebars out. You should not modify them. I'm not an engineer, and I'm not telling you that you should do it this way. So now I have the piece tack welded in place, and I could test fit the seat right now. Make sure it still goes in easy, and then next I will take it out and do my finish welding. Another thing we can do now, we can check to see how much clearance we gained. We had 17 3/4 inches before. And now we have about 20 3/4, so right at that point we gained 3 inches of clearance. But I think overall, up top and maybe below some too, it's going to be a pretty noticeable difference. So our seat fits in and out without any trouble, and then when I get in here to sit down, I don't even bump that thing. So it is out of the way, and I guess it could maybe give you a little bit of something to grab onto down here, and maybe make you feel a little bit more secure if you did get jostled around real bad or have a rollover. All right, so both bars are installed. I definitely have more clearance to get in and out now, but I'm not giving up all the rigidity that was provided from the original bars that went here. So let's go ahead and put the seat in. All right, our seat is in, so let's climb in, see how easy it is. So doing that, I didn't hit the bar at all. I'm gonna try it a few more times. Yeah, with the old bars, I used to have a little bit of issue where I would bump the steering wheel and the bar getting in and out, but this is definitely better. So there is the completed project on both sides. Let's take a look right up in here. Let's check this spot right here. Okay, so I'm not inside of the machine yet, but let's climb in and see if that drops down at all. Put my weight over here. So I'm watching that as I get out. I don't see it moving at all, so maybe we did add some rigidity with our little bars here. Thanks for tuning into Backyard Broadheads. My next project is a cargo and crossbow rack, so keep an eye out for that.